Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights, a true servant of the living God that loves every last human being on the face of the earth and wants you to be awakened to the truth that you might live. I have said to you over and over again that I have been, and I've admitted it, confessed it, that I was the agent of Satan, a devilish guy. That doesn't mean I've done everything the devil wished to be done, but others have. All of us together have done everything that the devil wished to have. And each of us played our part in it. I admit I played my part. And I have been most recently continuously called the most evil, low down, dirtiest man on the face of the earth. And I haven't challenged that. Only one thing I've said is that I haven't taken a life. And out of all of that, the supreme power of the universe chose me to deliver the message of freedom and liberation to you, the people who are so in bondage. And I'm one of the people that you're most likely never to listen to. However, God uses me, and I thank God for doing so. Just the other day, I went shopping. I didn't go shopping for me. I went shopping for you, the people of the world. I went to stores like Walmart, Sam's Club stores like Costco, and the many stores similar that are scattered all around the earth where people are. There are markets where people are trying to sucker you, and they've suckered all of us well. What I saw in its magnificence, and it was an abundance and extraordinarily beautiful, was things that were supposed to be in your domain. They are the things that are supposed to be available to you. And as I looked at those things and I saw the number of people working, making sure that everything was put where it was supposed to be so that you could see it and that you could choose it. And I can, in my mind's eye, just think about all of the workers all over the world that were engaged in the process of making sure that this abundance would be available. And many of you who have participated in that work, some of you right now are living from paycheck to paycheck. Some of you can't pay bills and experience health care at the same time. So you're struggling. And while I saw this pain and suffering, though there are many of you that are living quite well, I saw those who are considered as billionaires, who can do anything they want to do after you have worked on the resources that God gave to the human race that have been stolen by these people who are the billionaires. And God has said, this must change. This must change. Now, I look at this thing about change, and I've spent many years taking the message to whoever would listen. And I've tried many platforms that have been closed to me because the message is not the message that they want to hear. I think about the men and women, but specifically men right now, that God has blessed, that God has used to bring information to the human population. One that I'm sure everybody is quite familiar with is not just the television, not just the radio, but the internet. The internet. Now we know what the internet does. We know what it's used for. And it is a gift that is supposed to be used by any and everyone that desires to have them as access, as an access. Excuse me. But you know what? Rather than you receiving and having access to these tools, there is a system designed that says that in order for this to be realized, it's going to have to involve the system that has been devised by man, and that involves money. So rather than making sure that you did the role that you had to play in the process of the manifestation of the internet, the ones that were used to introduce it to we the people are filthy rich. And you are struggling. You can't even afford the internet. You have to go to the library, hopefully. And that's nothing is wrong with that. That's still access. But it's all designed to represent a power that is not of God. It is a tool of the evil one. Anything that will cause you pain and suffering, anything that will take away that which you need, want, or desire is a tool from Satan. And yet, change will come when you, the people, wake up. It is partly in our hands, the other part is in God's hand. Now, we cannot make the river overflow, or we cannot hold its tides back, but we can make a boat, we can make a dam, and all of those things together serves the good of God and humankind. I think about the women. I've spoken to you, and I've given you an opportunity to hear me say that God chose you to bring life into the world. Life into the world. Every time you have a baby, you're bringing life into the world. And just as you bring life into the world, you also bring the spirit into the world. So you're not just a tool for humankind, for man to divide, to control and manipulate. You are a tool of God. And you have a role in this life. It's not to be submissive to anyone except God. Love will dictate the road, the path that you walk. Love does that. Not man, not a husband, not a father. Father and a mother should teach, and I hope that this is done, the children the way to go. But they can only teach them when they know the way to go. We are in a stage now that the devil has designed. We saw not too long ago where the United States Senate decided to go against the people who did not want to go into war, who did not want to walk this path, who did, but the United States Senate says it's okay. Go ahead and do what you're doing. And so what they are doing, they're violating the rules of life. They decided that in order to manipulate and have an advantage over others, just like they want to control everything, that there would be war. And the purpose of the war is to manipulate another nation, to control the resources of that nation, to benefit other nations, specifically Israel and America, being used as a tool of Satan. And we, the people, by our complicity, we are allowing this evil to manifest itself on those people who are suffering, those people who are being killed through bombs and missiles and whatever other that causes them to fail, causes them to suffer. The same thing that was happening in Gaza, in Ukraine, is still happening. What is going on? People who do not know God, who have no respect for God, have no honor for God. And when these things continue, it is you, the people, that is responsible. How many times have you heard that sanctions that does not hurt the government usually hurts the people? And its motivation is to get those people to suffer to the degree that they rise up and they end the type of government system that they have in hopes that it will benefit the one that is passing along the sanctions. How many times have you heard people say to America, instigate your own suffering to the degree that you will cause America to stand down, that you will cause Trump to be out of office, and his motivations that leads him to do the things that he does will not affect any of you. But we know that any other president that has tried to do the things that Donald Trump is doing would have been murdered. But right now, I understand that over 77 million people of this country that voted to keep Trump in. At the same time, you were given an opportunity to choose a Democrat who is just a tool of Satan as well, but who had a little bit more compassion for the people. You rejected it because of many reasons, mainly female, mainly the color. And as a consequence, the whole nation is suffering. Now, where it's going to go in the end, we will win. But how the struggle will unfold, it will be new. It'll be a surprise to some and to most. What I am trying to say to you today, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have convinced yourself that you have a relationship with God. And it might be a relationship with God, but it's not a pleasant one. The fact of the reality is this. You have heard it said, and some of the military people spoke to the mainstream military not too long ago to inform them, to remind them if they'd forgotten, that they do not have to follow unlawful orders. That means if you're given an order that the Congress has not approved, that the nation has not accepted as a measure of conduct, that you should withhold giving it life. But just as you made that decision, there's another decision that says we should do unto others as we'd have others do unto us. And that is a decision that was handed down to us by the supreme power. That means that the things that have been designed that will promote life on this earth, everybody's supposed to play a role in keeping it and making it real. And so when the government says or the system says this and it violates God, when the system says we're going to have slaves, God says no. That means that the people representing God would not give that any life. People, excuse me, who realize that food, clothing, shelter, and education is needed, and healthcare. Don't forget healthcare is needed by every individual at one point in time. And that should never be a time when these benefits, as long as God has given us the resources, as long as God has given us the workers, the tools to be used to do these kinds of things, it should never be denied anyone at any time. That's God's love. That's the way God operates. But does that happen? No. Why? Because there aren't those who represent God for many reasons. They hypocrites, don't know God, and don't care. All of those things and many, many more. But my message here today is to say to you that God has given us an earth that we didn't create. And all of the wonderful things of the earth, God gave it to us. We didn't create. We don't even deserve. But God put it there so we could have access to it because hopefully we will deserve it one time. And that is to have heaven on earth. And I say to you, that's not happening. But as I've been saying to you, I just like to repeat one more time. Every individual on this earth benefits from this earth. And being here, God sent each of us with a responsibility, something that we can contribute to this life. And that is something that we love. All we have to do is discover what it is. And we engage ourselves in that which we love. And that which we love is a tool. It is a door that's open to contribute to the life that we as human beings say we want. And more than that, God has designed for us. And so we would be creating in abundance these things: food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare, transportation, infrastructure, and many, many more. We as individuals. All that stuff I saw in Walmart, all the stuff that's in Sam's Club, all the stuff that's in Costco and those places all around the world should be in your homes. And you constantly work and make sure that as they're taken out of these stores, they're being replenished because you and the resources are there to make sure that they are. So when they are used and have no further use, they can be destroyed, and your house and your home and your health facilities and your education facilities continue to flourish because you have engaged in yourselves in the process that God has designed for you. That means you will live in peace, be prosperous, free, joyous, happy, fulfilled, satisfied, and live the life rather than dreaming of the life. Now that's God's plan. That's what God has designed. But now we're not following God's design. We're following the designs of men who established the Constitution of the United States of America, saying that all men are created equal while they held slaves to benefit them. And that has been in operation since the beginning. But the message today is to inform you, to remind you that you have an obligation to God. And the obligation that when you're attached to God allows you to treat the next door neighbor the same as you want the neighbor to treat you. Not just the one across the street or beside you, but the nation across and the nation around. It's not asking too much, ladies and gentlemen. It's just asking you to grow up. And here you have a man who has been considered as one of the most low down, evil men on the face of the earth, but never taken a life, standing up or sitting here to tell you what life is all about, how simple it is. But you have to have courage to stand up. You have to have courage to realize that people like Donald Trump, people like Putin, people like uh, any Pharaoh, any Caesar, are just people, just like you. And they are just like you. They breathe by the blessings of that supreme power. They put their pants on or comb their hair by the blessing of that supreme power. And they have no more power than you. However, you might choose to love and they may choose to kill. But if God says, thou shalt not, that means you will not, and you will be blessed. I want to stop it because I don't want to take too much of your time today because I know I'll be back a little bit later on. This is Sunday. And we are prepared, even though I hear that a lot of people who have grown up in God have decided to stop going to the church because it is a church that led us right to the base of hell. But it will be God that will liberate us, not me. I'm not trying to say I want to lead you anywhere. I just want you to know the power that it taught me of the power, and that's God. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time.